you know, in the who's who's.
Yeah.
And this one big monster guy went walking up there like, oh man, you know, they took the needle and shoved it in his arm, and he looked at it and he just went.
I wonder what they, would do with the sample. Would they kick you out of the Navy for some reason?
If your blood had, I don't know. Well, it's just like any other physical. You've got to take your blood and analyze it.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
If you have I have to have my blood checked now every 3 or 4 months. Make sure I'm still, I don't know, I'm not getting too much of this or not enough of that or whatever.
Right.
You're still operating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a real good experience. And then when we got out of boot camp, they sent this group of 25 guys to go aboard this troop transport, his advance party on this troop transport. And so we went on board this one afternoon and had a nice, easy meal on board and everything. And get up the next morning and have chow. And they said, okay, what you guys are going to do, first thing we'll do, because they didn't let us out of the chow hall, we take all the benches and we go store them. Because they had benches and these tables that were, they were 2 vertical bars, and then this table that had notches to lock it on.
Okay.
So you could set it in different notches. So they were sitting down, level for a bench where you could sit down. So they said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to stow all the benches and we're going to bring the tables up to a certain level so that they were level enough when you stood up, your tray was right there. So when you got to eat, you didn't get to sit down. Because it only takes 2 minutes to eat when you're standing up in relation to 10 minutes if you're sitting.
Interesting.
So then they started loading the ship. The next afternoon they were still loading the ship.
Really?
With personnel.
Man.
And I don't know how many we took aboard, but we pulled into Long Beach. We left San Diego. We pulled into Long Beach. We were going to Treasure Island, which is up in the San Francisco Bay. Well, we pulled into Long Beach and dropped off 8,000 sailors there.
Gosh.
It still didn't make any difference. We still started feeding. We started feeding at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we shut down the chow line at 9 at night. Continuous.
Wow.
They only had like a half an hour in between breakfast and lunch to change over the lines.
Wow.
And nobody got to sit down to eat.
Yeah.
Then we got up to Treasure Island, and they said anybody who lives west of the Mississippi want to take 10 days and go home, they can do it.
Interesting.
So my buddy and I, another kid from Santa Fe, kid named Fidea Evangel, and he changed his name to Fred in the Navy because nobody could, Fidea.
Yeah.
Well, the way it was spelled, you didn't get Fidea out of it.
Huh. Okay.
It was Fedya,
Okay.
F-E-D-Y-A,
Okay.
but his name was Fidea.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it was a Greek name, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we took off and said, yeah, we want to take the 10 days. And so we caught a Greyhound out of the Bay Area. And we wanted to, since Merrill was over at Nellis over in Vegas. We wanted to go to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought tickets to Vegas. Figuring, okay, I can go over there and I can talk Maryland into lending me his car and I can drive home and
Oh, right.
come back. Okay. No cell phones in those days or anything, so he didn't know anything about it.
Right, right.
But anyway, it took us, we go all the way down the coast to L.A. You catch a bus out of L.A. going back up to Vegas.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got there and I guess, I don't know how we got out to Nellis Air Force Base. We probably took a bus out of there from the bus depot. And anyway, I got to the gate and then I called to have him come over and meet us there. 'Cause I didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
But he said, no problem, so I took his car and we drove home.
Okay, great.
And then after we stayed there, 7 days or something like that, then back again.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove back to Vegas and figured we could catch a hop out of Vegas to the coast real easy. And he said it shouldn't be a problem. He told us that before we left.
Mm-hmm.
So we get back over there and they got I don't know, they had something going somewhere near San Francisco. And we didn't get on it because the people with emergency leaves beat us out of it. So we couldn't, we got bumped off of there. And it was getting later and later and later, and we weren't getting any, there was no activity coming through.
Oh, no.
And there was a B-25 going to Pittsburgh, California, but they only had room for one guy.
Mm.
So we flipped and Padilla won and he got to go on the B-25. So he left and then Merrill said, okay, I'll go down and I know a couple of people and we'll talk to them and see what I can come up with. He said there was a DC-3 coming in and he didn't know where it was going, where it came from. But he said usually anything will go on to the coast. If it's coming from the east, they knew it was coming from the east somewhere. And I don't remember where it came from. I think it originated in Albuquerque or something like that. But anyway, they had enough room for a squadron in there. I mean, there was only one other guy, I think, or two other guys on it.
Gee whiz.
And we had the whole back end of that DC-3.
Oh, wow.
But no place to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just sat on the parachutes, that's all you
God.
or walk around. So.
Uh-huh.
But we went to Hamilton Air Force Base, which was just north of San Francisco on the coast there.
Okay, perfect.
So I got in there and I caught a bus over to Treasure Island from up there. And I got there, I don't know, probably about midnight or so. And my buddy hadn't shown up yet, and he left long before I did.
Yeah.
And he had a heck of a time getting out of Pittsburgh down to San Francisco. So he didn't get there until like 6:30 the next morning. Well, our leaves expired at 0700, 7 o'clock.
So what did they do for people who lived east of the Mississippi? And they said, if you live west of the Mississippi, you have 10 days leave.
Yeah. If you lived east of the Mississippi, forget it.
You just got no leave.
No leave. You stayed on Treasure Island.
Interesting.
And you had to work your tail off if you stayed there.
Man, that
And-
doesn't seem fair.
Well, okay, now we got back, and everything was cool.